What up, what up, internet? Who you are, where you be, where you at, what you see. I know what we saw this weekend. We saw Spider-Man No Way Home. That's right, the newest MCU movie about everyone's favorite neighborhood Spider-Man. Look, we got so much to talk about. We're just going to get into it. I know y'all used to hearing like history, all that good stuff, but look, we're just going to get into it. I'm one of your hosts, Mark MF Jones, and I'm always honored to be joined by my co-host. What up, fellas?
This is Niels RY, aka Poor Peter Parker.
All alone.
Oh, and this is Shannon swinging through your town like your neighborhood Spider-Man. From that's also that's a Wu-Tang reference. A Wu-Tang reference.
Nice. Do a flip. But yeah, man. Look, the three of us know Spider-Man No Way Home, the third Spider-Man movie in the MCU universe, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, came out this past Thursday, Friday. We all saw it this weekend. It is turning out to be, if not one of the biggest movies of all time when it comes to box office and performance, but definitely maybe one of the Marvel's biggest releases of all time. So we're just going to get right into it. This is Marvel's third, fourth movie, something like that.
Yeah, it's up there now. Oh, and Mark, you may be saying this, but I'm just going to jump in and say it. Spoilers.
Yes.
Like we are going to talk about this. If you have not seen it, just know we will be talking about every intimate detail of this movie. So if you are okay with being spoiled, feel free to listen. If not, come on back and join the conversation because we're going to get into it.
It's safe to say we are going to spoil. We're going to spoil probably all the Marvel TV shows, all the previous Marvel movies, and we're gonna spoil some movies. All right, just last chance. Spoilers. We're gonna spoil all the other previous Spider-Man movies that ever existed.
Every Spider-Man movie that has ever existed.
All right, so you've been warned.
Let's be real. With the way we're analyzing it, we might spoil the next two Marvel movies coming up. Like if we can connect these dots, we might just be spoiling those too. So
Shannon, the way this movie went, we might be spoiling Batman, Flashpoint, Shazam, Blue Beetle, Thor. We might be spoiling everything that ever is going to come out the way this movie went. But look, let's just get into it, fellas. I'm going to turn it over to you. Where do you want to start and how do you want to do it?
Shannon, if you don't mind, I would love to start.
Yes, please do.
All right. So I don't say this often. But okay, well, there's like this a lot, brothers. So like let me just kind of piece it together. I'm mostly going to talk about how I feel. When the movie ended, I wanted to go right back into the theater and watch it again. I have not felt that feeling since The Dark Knight of me wanting to be like, okay, so I'm going to turn right back around. And if it wasn't for my obligations as a husband and a father, I would have done it. And you know what? That was part of it. It was also after midnight, and I don't think there was another showing. So logistically, I wasn't able to. Because if I could, I would have called Shamel and been like, baby, I'm going to be home a little bit later because I got to see this again. I got to run it back. I have to run it back. The thing that I wanted to say that I do not say often is that I think this was a perfect movie. This movie did not miss. If you wanted anything more from this movie, you are the definition of gluttonous. Like this movie gave you I got everything I wanted. And yeah, I think this is a perfect movie. There's only a handful of movies that I will ever call a perfect movie, but this is one of them. And we're going to get into it, but like, folks are asking a lot of questions, but like the question that you need to be asking is not, is this the greatest Spider-Man movie of all time? It's not, is this the greatest MCU movie of all time? You need to be asking the question, is it better than Dark Knight? That is the question I legit think folks need to be asking when they watch this movie.
Nails.
And so I'm coming, I ain't answering it. I'm just saying that's the question folks need to be asking.
This podcast originated because we would always be like, well, it ain't no Dark Knight.
Yep. First and foremost, it ain't no Dark Knight. Yes.
So the fact that you are like even entertaining that question speaks volumes. But like, Shannon, do you want to go ahead and give your thoughts and how you feel?
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. So for me, I mean, it got me to the movies, and I gotta say, like, I have not been to a movie theater since sometime early 2020, and especially when the pandemic hit. Whenever anything came out, I was like, yo, let's be honest, I was like, I'm either gonna figure out a way to see it on a site, I'm gonna get a bootleg, whatever, or I'm just gonna wait for it to come on to one of the streaming services. This one, I went to see it on opening night, and I'm there. I didn't do that for Shang-Chi. I didn't do it for Eternals. I didn't do it for, I don't know, anything. I didn't do it for Black Widow, like nothing else. I have not done it for anything else. So it got me to the movie theater at 9 p.m., which is another thing. How am I going to make it through that? I did it. So that's just how good this movie was. And I have heard people sort of referring to it almost as Spider-Man Endgame. So, however feelings might be, even if Endgame has its own issues and things like that, it is that concept though. Like, it was the end game to Spider-Man in the sense of, now we're in a place where we can go in like whatever direction. It wrapped up some things. It didn't.
Shannon, it wrapped up everything. But
yeah,
sorry, please continue.
That's what I was gonna say. I feel like it wrapped up everything. It didn't really leave any. Like, it leaves space for like, okay, if we want to go in this direction, like, we can choose to do this, but it doesn't just leave this sort of hole here to be like, this doesn't make sense. What, it wrapped up everything. Yeah, I mean, I loved it. That's all I can say. Loved it. I feel like it did a great job. It was a love letter to fans of Spider-Man, especially if you have seen the Spider-Man movies, because I can't completely speak for all the comics. But in terms of, if you're thinking of the Spider-Man movies, any iteration, I think it was a love letter to that as well.
Yeah, Shannon, just to piggyback on what you said right there, when I sat back and thought about this, I was like, dang, Marvel, Kevin Feige and his team, they really know what they're doing. Because to this character that's always up in the air because of Sony owns the film rights, right? And like, we're always in this kind of like, oh, is he going to be in this? And how's it going to make sense if he just doesn't show up? The way they set this movie up at the end, it's like Spider-Man is just doing his thing. We put this character in a place where we can keep having Avenger movies and no one has to worry about where Peter Parker is. And I'm like, the fact that happened organically and it makes sense in this world, I was like, damn. Like, not only did they like save themselves in case Sony gets stupid like in the next couple years, but they created I don't know how to like say what we saw, dog. We saw 3 movies become an origin story.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I've ever seen that before. We basically saw the prequel of Spider-Man over these 3 movies. I'll just go ahead. I'll get it.
Mark, just let it be silent for a while. Like, we just saw an origin story, a 3 movie long and some features origin story, and it was nasty. Nasty. Okay, sorry, Mark, please continue. I just wanted to acknowledge that part of it.
And it just man, I'm pretty amazed that this was pulled off. But it's no secret, Spider-Man, my favorite superhero. And dog, like, I left this movie and I was like, I just got to see my favorite maybe character in fiction, maybe just have the greatest movie of all time. And I know it's debatable, but like, my favorite comic book character, my favorite hero has a movie that is in the running of one of the greatest cinematic achievements of all time. And then, like, that just blew my mind. Bruh, this movie,
feels good,
man,
doesn't it?
It feels great. Like, it feels fantastic, dog. Like, I don't even know where to start. No one phoned this in. Everyone came correct. Even the side characters, Ned and MJ, were like good in this movie. They were valuable pieces in this movie. It built the MCU. It makes sense. Tom Holland. I'm gonna throw this out here. This movie might be the best acted movie in the whole MCU.
Is that a question?
I
didn't even think that deeply about it, but like,
there's only like a couple movies that I think might. Black Panther has some good acting in it. The end of Guardians 2 always gets me. There's some good acting in that, but on the whole, I feel like this movie has the best acting in the MCU.
I mean, Tom Holland acted his ass off.
Yeah.
William Dafoe acted his ass off.
Oh my gosh, dog. William Dafoe, like,
Doc Ock showed up. Like, everybody came correct. Happy killed it.
Marissa Tomei killed it. And then the fact that she is his Uncle Ben.
Damn, Shannon.
What did he say?
He said, and Ben was killed.
And then what? Yo. Hey, no, when she got hit by the glider, I was like, damn, like, out loud, because like that, like, it's very hard with CG sometimes to make things look like they have weight or stick. That looked like it was real. Like, that looked like they hit that woman with a glider going like 200 miles per hour.
Yep.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
So I don't even know where to start. Like, like,
can I say one more thing, context setting, and then Shannon, please feel free. So I watched this at the Magic Johnson movie theater, and I know around the world there are some Magic Johnson movie theaters, but what they all have in common is that they are in the hood. So I went to the Magic Johnson movie theater, and I was around the Element, and towards the first end credit scene, like right after the first end credit scene, the brother I was sitting next to, who I didn't talk to, like, we ain't even look at each other the entire movie. This brother he turns and looks at me. He's like, bruh, where do you rank this? And I looked at him and I realized, like, he was sitting next to his girl, like, he needed to he needed to talk to somebody and be like, yo, did somebody else see what I just saw? And so I looked at him and I was like, yeah, bro, it's up there. He's like, where? I was like, yeah. I was like, it's up there. It's up there. And he was like, all right. So like, he just needed to know that somebody else saw what he was seeing. So like, yes, context wise, man, it was good.
Endgame was 10 years, 20 movies in the making. I can't believe this exists. I can't believe that this is close to like 20 years of movies.
Yeah, the first Spider-Man came out like 2001, right? 2001, 2002.
Yeah.
So, and the other crazy thing, and again, sorry, Shannon, definitely want you to go. Like, this gave me closure in like 5 movies that are not associated with this universe. I got closure for those 5 movies in this one movie that really wasn't connected to those 5 movies all at once.
Dog, in this
Has that
movie,
ever happened before?
Nels, in this movie is low-key a short film to the Amazing Spider-Man universe.
Yes.
Yes. Like, are you kidding me?
And it made it honestly.
This
it
was
made
Spider-Man 3 for Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah, and that's what I was gonna say. Like, it made me appreciate the Amazing Spider-Man like so much more because, in all honesty, if we were to to rank or whatever, I think probably my least favorite Spider-Man movies are the Amazing Spider-Man, 1 and 2. And then to see, like, for them to pull it together, and then Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man and that stuff, I'm like, yo, bro, like, I appreciate you more now, and just like how all of this ties together. So I'm like, to do that was no easy feat, and I'm sure they knew they were doing it. Like, everybody knows, like, nobody really liked the Amazing Spider-Man, like, not in comparison to the other Spider-Mans that exist.
Garfield was never the problem in those movies.
Yeah,
he was never the problem. I personally
Agreed.
loved him as Spider-Man. He was never the problem in those movies. My problem with the Amazing Spider-Man universe is they try to do you were always destined to be Spider-Man. This was your destiny, Peter Parker, or you have special blood, like the chosen one route. I personally hated that because the whole point of Peter Parker is it could have happened to anybody, but it happened to him.
yeah.
And with this ability and power, he chose to become Spider-Man. That's the whole point. He wasn't destined for it. He was just a kid from Queens who got bit by a radioactive spider like you do. And this is what happened. So, but yeah, other than that, Garfield was the favorite part of those movies for me. It was like everything else. It was the blue Jamie Foxx and and then the blue Jamie Foxx, and then at the end of the movie, he plays rock and roll, the itsy bitsy spider with electricity. It's just the most random shit I've ever seen in my life. He's just, hey, Spider-Man, Spider. I was like, what the hell is going on? What is this?
The power of good writing and good directing turned that to what we just saw.
Yes.
Like amazing. Like the power of good writing, good directing. Turn that thing into charismatic Jamie Foxx. But by the way, y'all, this is another brother with electric powers.
Again.
What is up with black people and electricity in Hollywood? When I was seeing him float in electric, I was like, damn, Mark's right again.
Yeah.
No, they always like throwing black people with electric powers. It's like, yeah, we could do other shit. Y'all seen Black Panther, right? Like,
we could lift stuff with our mind.
Electricity, take it or leave it.
Funny enough,
but,
yeah.
So as we mentioned him, let's talk about the villains for just a second. So this is something that like I sort of question. Like I've been looking at a little more. So in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, and I truly can't remember, so I'm just trying to recall. He never knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man, right? Because wasn't he technically the only of the villains? He was possibly, all the villains are there because the spell got botched and everything.
Yeah.
So everybody there is supposed to be like, I know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, but he doesn't. So
no,
like the question that sort of comes to mind is he possibly, as we let's take it back to Loki or something. Is he possibly like a variant from or something like that? And
Shannon, that I heard a theory about that because it's the same thing that he might be a variant, and that's why his skin isn't like blue and all that good stuff. So that could be a plot hole, but I think this world that is created is we can find a way to make that make sense, and I think that he is a different variant of that Jamie Foxx is a good enough answer, at least for me. I tell you the truth, I wasn't dog. I didn't like. There's a saying when you're like when your content is good, people will ignore the strings, right? If you're doing a puppet show and the puppets are killing it, people aren't going to care that they see the strings. If your show sucks, if the content sucks, people are going to start calling out the bad puppets, the strings, all that stuff. I didn't care. I wasn't like, oh, he does it. I was like, Jamie Foxx rocking the Timbs, electric powers. Let's go.
Jamie Foxx with an arc reactor.
Yeah.
With an arc reactor with electric powers. Like the danger of that. And getting Jamie Foxx, like that alone, him alone is a big bad villain. Can you imagine an arc reactor and electric powers? That's a movie villain.
That's an Iron Man villain, dog. That's an Iron Man villain.
And he was just like one of the villains in this movie.
He's just one of Hey, real quick, while we're talking about villains, I just want to say about Spider-Man villains in general, right? And I talked to my brother and I talked to Otis. Shout out to Otis about this. Spider-Man villains have zero accountability. What do I mean by that, right? Spider-Man, let me set up an origin story for a Spider-Man villain. Spider-Man swinging through Manhattan, sees a guy about to get hit by a truck, saves the guy. Hey, man, you all right? Yeah, thanks, Spider-Man. Wow. All right, take care. He swings away. Guy goes home. Honey, I met Spider-Man. His apartment's empty. His wife left him. It says, I want a divorce. And he'll be like, curse you, Spider-Man. Like they blame everything on Spider-Man, dog. Jamie Foxx, his Spider-Man wasn't even in the vicinity of what happened to him. It's Spider-Man's fault. Like everything is Spider-Man's fault. Spider-Man saves Doc Ock from blowing up everybody in his apartment. He's like, no, Spider-Man did it. He's the reason why I'm this way. I'm like, dog, and it kills me. All Spider-Man villains are the same way.
It's further evidence that Spider-Man, like, it's shocking that he's not black.
Yes.
Like, it's just further evidence.
And Nails, that was something I used in high school. I used to always say that. I'm like, yo, Queens, lives with his aunt and uncle. He's black. Like, Peter Parker's a black guy. Yeah, he don't got no money. I think Peter Parker's black. But so when Jamie Foxx like said that to Andrew, that he always thought he was black, that like I like literally cheered in the movie theater when I saw that.
And Andrew was like, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's like, sorry, man.
My apologies.
Oh, God. Yo, so let's just quickly again, we got plenty to talk about, but like I am curious, how did y'all feel like when you saw, we love to talk about the moments that like were amazing in this movie, but how did y'all feel when you saw like the reveals of the other two Spider-Man? Like, what was going through your mind when you started to see what was about to happen?
I was like, finally, like it felt good because, I feel like we had been hearing the rumors for so long and it just made sense. It's like, they have to be in here, but there was never anything that confirmed it. And especially the way Marvel is, like, I feel like there have been things that have in the past that's been like, this is an obvious move. You got to do this. And then it doesn't happen. So you just don't know for sure. And so finally, like in the theater, when they opened the portal and then you see, why am I blanking on his name?
Andrew?
No, not Andrew.
Toby?
Yeah, Toby. Yeah, like when they open the portal and you see Toby, like, come through, or no, dag. I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm blanking. Which was the very first one? It was Andrew Garfield.
Garfield.
Yeah, that was the very first one. Yeah, my mistake. I'm getting when they came in wrong. But yeah, when they did that, and then Andrew Garfield comes in, like, you're already sort of thinking, you're like, wait, I don't think this is Tom Holland, like, because he's still in the suit, and like the suit look a little different, he moving different, and then he takes, the mask comes off, and you're like, yo, they did it. Like in the theater, I started clapping. I was the only one for a second. I looked there, I was like, I'm like, y'all don't see this too? Like,
yeah, Shannon, not to interrupt you because I want you to finish, but were folks like, I'm curious if the energy was like, yo, this isn't real, this isn't happening. Like, was it shock? Because I think that was the same energy there. I think people were in disbelief. Like, no way this is happening. Like, I don't believe it. This isn't really happening. And then when Toby came in the screen, that's when everybody went crazy. because I think they were realizing it was actually happening.
Yeah.
But again,
yeah, no, and I mean, maybe that's what it was, because I was like, yo, this is not the place for me. Like, if y'all can't bring this energy, don't get me wrong, I'm not gonna leave. I'm gonna stay and finish this movie, but just know I don't appreciate the energy that y'all not giving right now. But no, I was hyped when it happened. I clapped and everything, and I was like, yo, they are doing it. They really got all three. And so yeah, that was my moment. That's how I felt.
Bruh, when the portal opened, from jump, I knew it was Garfield, because like the eyes of the suit, and my energy, I was like, I saw shout out to Esco, who's been on the show. I saw the movie with Esco, and when I saw Garfield and they're like Peter and they're like waving to him, my energy was like in the beginning of of Jurassic Park, where like Dr. Grant sees the dinosaurs and he's like taking off his glasses, and I was like, I was like, he did it. The crazy son of a bitch did it. and then when like Toby comes in, I'm like, they're moving in herds. They do move in herds. like I had that same energy, dog. I was like, I can't believe it. I knew something in the back of my, like, you heard the rumors, but like they really did it, bro. When Garfield came in, my theater exploded. Like I couldn't hear anything he said once he came through the portal and took off his mask for like 5 or 10 seconds after. And then when Toby came in, like I didn't hear none of that dialogue, like, because like when that portal opened up and you can kind of see like the theater, he didn't even walk through. Like my theater went nuts. And when Toby walked through, I was like, I'm not gonna lie, I was like, ooh, they could have gave this man a little bit of a CG age makeup, but no, he's still killing it, dog. And I like it. He's a aged, seasoned Spider-Man. So, but nah, man, I was just like, I can't believe this is happening, and it's happening in an organic way. The MCU has done one thing: everything in it has been organic. It has happened. They let it breathe, and things don't happen in the MCU until they're ready to make them happen.
The fact that Daredevil, Matt Murdock, is an afterthought.
Yes. I forgot he was in the movie.
You forget exactly. The fact that like he came through, and he really is a good lawyer, if you want to keep it a buck. The fact that like that was like, huh, and then later on, you had like they're so good. Like Kevin Feige, thank you, bro. Mm-hmm. Like thank you. Because I was so distraught that when I saw the portal open and I saw like a dark Spider-Man figure, I was like, okay, well, there's Venom. This is a true Sinister Six movie. Mm-hmm. Like there's now 6 folks and things are just going to get worse for everyone. But then it got closer and I was like, oh my God, that's Spider-Man. And then he took off the mask and I was like, Andrew, Shannon, I was just like you. I almost stood up. I was like, yes. But everybody else was quiet. And I was in the Hood Magic Johnson Theater. So I was like,
Do you see? Witness me.
So yeah, like and at this point it was like we were already like an hour and a half in, I think.
Yeah.
Right? Like we were in. So I was like, yo, I cannot believe the audacity, like the balls to even think you could pull this off. Like Sony and Kevin Feige to think that they could pull this off, and then they actually did it. I when I got in the car, I was quiet. I watched the Solo Dolo. I was quiet when I left the theater. I talked to the old boy because he needed to talk to somebody. I went into the car. I turned off the radio. I text Mark, our mutual friend, and was like, I just finished. And then I drove home. And as I was driving on the highway, all of a sudden I started yelling. I was like, oh!
Come on! He's like hitting his horn.
The balls!
Yo, I feel like I was like that. Like, yeah, definitely driving home. I feel like at least 2 different times I said, "They did it. Are you for real? Are you for real?" And yes, luckily I was by myself because somebody would have been like, "What are you even talking about?" I was like, "Are you for real?"
And it's so crazy because even before Tom and Toby show up, this is a really, really good movie. It's like really good. And so to just throw that on top of it, it's like, you know,
Mark, they didn't need them. They didn't need them. It was already a great movie. So it just like shot it up. It was like a shot of adrenaline in the middle of like a football game. You didn't need it.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was good.
I just want to say, man, this movie, I think I need more Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man. He was the unsung hero for me in this movie. Like, he might be my favorite part, dog. He was on point with the comedy. His acting was great. Bruh, one of my favorite moments in this movie isn't even a big moment, but it's when Andrew and Toby first arrive and they kind of like, shoot webs at each other, they dodge it. And then Ned's grandma asks them to clean up. And then Andrew turns around. He's like, "Oh, okay," and he starts like picking up the like spice racks and stuff that he knocked over. Bruh, just the physical comedy acting of him doing that, it killed me. I was so done because I've done that before. Everyone's done that. But like, "Oh, sorry," and it's
even from the beginning when he popped in, it's like, bruh, they trying to be like, prove that you're Spider-Man or whatever. He's hanging on the wall, and then his grandma his grandma is like, once again, she's like, basically, can you go clean the cobweb that's in the corner? Like, if you can climb in,
he's just like, okay,
upside down on the ceiling, can you just get that cobweb?
And bro, you know what? That energy right there, that's Spider-Man. That is Spider-Man. Like, Spider-Man, like, he fights these villains, he saves New York from blowing up, but he's also that guy where someone's like, "Hey, Spider-Man, I locked myself out my apartment. Can you like he's that guy." And like, I love that, dog. Anytime I can see that kind of like neighborhood Spider-Man, just like the mundane casualness of life, but Spider-Man's I love that stuff. That's a personal favorite for me.
It was, how impressive was it that, like, Andrew, it hasn't been that long since he's played Spider-Man, but Toby showed up as 2000 Peter Parker. Like, he was, very chill, very like quiet, very like socially awkward, but still like powerful and brave in his own way. And I was just like, man, you haven't played this character in so long, but yet I see Spider-Man. Like, you're just an older version of Spider-Man who's gone through like real trauma.
Nels,
those movies.
I'm with you. It looks like he's been playing Spider-Man since the end of the like he didn't miss a beat. It looks like he's just like, we didn't know, but in his spare time, he's been Peter Parker method acting, because he knew this movie was coming out 20 years later. Like, it feels like he did not miss a beat.
Yep.
He captured that same Toby Peter Parker energy, but it's like he feels more confident in himself as Spider-Man. He's seasoned. He's seen it all. He's got words of wisdom. And Nels, I brought this up to you. I think this movie solidifies that Toby is the Peter B. Parker from the Into the Spider-Verse movies.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that.
I think it's like, safe to say that, because when he comes through the portal, because my crowd was cheering. Maybe y'all heard him. I feel like he said something like, "I got the sense there was another Peter that needed me," or something like that. And then he said, when he was like, "But wait, you guys aren't his friends." And I was like, what is he talking about? But I think he was expecting Miles. He's expecting to run into Miles. And he looked like he just like kind of been there before, like, "Oh, a portal, like, yeah, I've done this."
He was not shook at all. He wasn't shook. He was just like,
yeah,
okay, yeah, something new.
So I think it's clear to say that and to bring, bro, this movie goes so deep. To bring in Spider-Verse, and then at the end of the movie, I've only like played the game a little bit, but Peter's apartment at the end of the movie is apparently his apartment in the Sony Spider-Man game. It's like the same layout, apparently. And so these dog, the balls on dog. I feel like Sony. I low-key kind of hate Sony in all this because I feel like they are the kid who just puts their name on the assignment at the at the end. Because like, dog, they
you know how to pick a right partner.
But I'm not mad, dog. They're like, yo, not only are we not going to pay for any of this, we're going to put our name all over the front and the back end of this movie, and this is going to be a prequel to our video game. Like,
yeah, you know it is, and because there's no way that Sony and that they paid that much attention to detail and everything. It was like Marvel did that heavy lifting, and yeah, let's stamp our name right here. And having played the like I've played both of them, the recent like by Sony, the Spider-Man game on PS4, and then right after that the Miles Morales one, and I'm like, this fits in just perfectly with that, and then I can imagine that with PS5 being out, they come out with another Spider-Man that then perfectly segues from this movie, that maybe has some Spider-Verse stuff going on. So yeah,
Shannon, it does.
Well played.
Was that his apartment? Does that line up? Does it look just like his apartment in the video game?
So, well, yeah. Because I was thinking about I was thinking about Miles Morales, and so obviously not Miles Morales, but in terms of the first Spider-Man on PS4, the one before Miles Morales. I'm like, it does look like it. Yeah, I will say it does look like it a lot.
And doesn't spoilers for those games, but do they start out with Aunt May dying?
Nah. She
isn't it like a virus that he has to go get the cure for?
Yeah.
It's a plot of Spider-Man 1.
No, in the PS4, the Spider-Man, I'm trying to think. She dies, but it is sort of like a some virus gas thing or something like that. So I believe she does end up dying, but it's obviously it's not like in this movie. Like she doesn't get killed essentially by a Green Goblin.
But in this universe created with variants and timelines, we could easily go from No Way Home to the Sony games to like something else. Okay.
Yeah. Because like I said, I can see them coming out in another year or however long it takes them to make a video game, because they've already got like Miles Morales and Spider-Man.
And Spider-Man 2 is coming out soon.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh yeah, it sure is.
No. The next video game. So there was Spider-Man. Then there was Spider-Man Miles Morales, and now the Spider-Man, the first one, is getting a sequel. Called Spider-Man 2. So and we
haven't really seen. I mean, we've seen a trailer or two on that one. I think Venom's going to be in it, but who knows? They might go into some Spider-Verse
Venom stuff. And Craven. Craven's going to be in it too.
Oh, word. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, fellas, there are some key stuff that I want to talk to y'all about, and y'all, we have a special treat from y'all. Later on in the episode, you'll get to hear from the superhero roundtable. But fellas, there's just a couple things that we gotta talk about. I definitely want to hear moments, but before we hear moments, I just have to throw this out there. We got a whole ass trailer at the end of the movie. Not like a 5-second. Here's what's gonna happen soon. Not a get hyped for this 30-second cutscene. We got a whole ass trailer to Doctor Strange, and what do y'all have any theories or thoughts? Because we know that there's been greenlit for the next 3 Spider-Man movies. They didn't confirm it was going to be Tom Holland. They said Tom Holland would be in the future for crossover movies, but they didn't specify that the next 3 Spider-Man movies coming out would be Tom Holland Spider-Man. And we know how the movie ends with Tom Holland pretty much wearing the authentic age-old Spider-Man suit. Yeah. And the symbiote showing up in the first end credit scene. Like, I'm just curious, what are y'all thinking the future is going to be, MCU related, Spider-Man related, that you're like looking forward to?
So real quick before we even get into that, I just want to like stress that, like, to quote my boy Drake, man, what a time to be alive. Like I like younger listeners or just younger people in general, like this, what you have here, what is happening would not even be thought of when we were growing up. This is Nels, you read comics. This is basically comic books come to cinema. It is to the point now where you gotta be educated 10 movies deep to know where these movies are going. And they don't care if you haven't seen them. They're like, the audience, you're either with us or you're not. So we're not going to be like last time on Marvel, last time on Spider-Man. They're just getting into it. And I'm just like, yo, what, like the fact that studios trust people to pick up multiverse and different universes and different the same superhero, bro. Like, I feel like when we were growing up, studios would be like, no, they're too stupid. What, more than one Spider-Man? The audience is going to be confused. But just the fact that like this is the new norm and movies just get into it, it just kind of blows my mind. So I just want to like state that before we even get into it.
Yeah. And yo, I love that you mentioned that, Mark, because it's not even just the movies, it's across platforms. So they're having the faith that you have watched all the Spider-Man movies, all the Marvel movies in general, and that you've watched the Disney Plus shows. And to be real, to probably fill in some gaps, you've maybe listened to some YouTube people who give the reviews and say theories and stuff that you've probably even done there. So
they know you're watching those videos.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, we got something for your ass. Like they definitely do that.
Yeah, like never has there been anything like that where like you said, even outside the movies, they're like, okay, we hope you watched all our shows. Matter of fact, we know you watched all the shows. So let's pick up from let's take this piece from Loki. We know you'll get it. All right, let's go ahead and throw this in here. Like in this movie.
You watched it? Yo, shit, that's
dog. You're
like,
right.
Oh, you
like,
watched it? We know you watched it.
You know you watched Loki. Oh yeah, that little animated show we made, What If? You know, it's going to enhance your movie watching. You didn't watch it? Yeah, your problem. We're throwing Doctor Strange, that stuff into the movie. It's pretty amazing, dog. Oh, you didn't watch, not even cross-platform. You didn't watch the Netflix shows that have some type of tie into our shows? Yeah, that's your problem.
Yeah.
Like, it is what it is.
Bro, we mixed in Netflix, Sony movies from 20 years ago, the MCU that's already 25 movies deep, like, and then what, 4 Marvel TV shows, 4 or 5 Marvel TV shows? What the hell?
And one that is based, and one that's purely based on hypotheticals. Even
it's literally called What If? What if this happened?
I love it. I love that.
It's literally like,
it's true.
Hey, why not? Why not? Like,
maybe. Oh man. So what do y'all think is gonna happen? What are you banking on? What are you excited about?
So I think, man, I think we'll get a little bit of break from Spider-Man, right? Because what I think is gonna happen, well, one, and dog, the marketing, I think whenever this comes out, we might see Spider-Man in the last episode of Hawkeye. Hawkeye comes out.
That is something that people are talking about.
Because this movie ends, it looks like it ends on Christmas.
Yeah. And
Hawkeye is leading up to, like, it looks like it's going to end on Christmas. So we might see Spider-Man, and then the Steve Rogers, spoilers for Hawkeye, the Steve Rogers Broadway play, when they're web slinging, you can see the billboard signs for the Steve Rogers play in this movie.
Oh,
but
damn, you could.
You see
I didn't even notice.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
It's right in the beginning when him and MJ are swinging through New York. I don't know. I think we're going to take a little break from Spider-Man. And what I think is going to happen is they're going to if Tom wants to come back, they're going to let him age up. And then, because they set it up that Spider-Man is now in this universe just doing his old thing. He's not affiliated with anybody. No one remembers him. He's just that guy in New York that swings around and helps people. So the Avengers can go to outer space. Thor can go have adventures. Everyone can go do their thing. And then I think maybe we come back a couple years later and it's an older Peter Parker in this universe and we're setting up Miles. Because the whole Jamie Foxx bit, like, I feel like that was done on purpose.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, maybe there's a Black Spider-Man out there somewhere. And Donald Glover low-key mentioned his I think nephew. No, low-key he straight up, yeah, his nephew. I don't know if he said Miles or but he mentioned his nephew, who is Miles Morales.
Yeah.
And so we know Miles lives in this universe. So I think it's going to be another organic, maybe a couple years down the line, 3 or 4 years, who knows? But we're looking at an organic setup to Miles Morales being the MCU's new Spider-Man.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. My thought is I'm sure we'll get at least like one more Spider-Man movie before maybe it's like the big thing and he's back, maybe with Avengers or doing something huge. But I think this gives them an opportunity to, similar to what you're saying, to put him back to sort of street level stuff.
Yes.
Because really every one of the Tom Holland Spider-Man so far, they've been sort of like beholden to somebody. It's like this strong tie with Iron Man. I'm doing stuff with the Avengers. He hasn't really been standalone, much. Whereas I think now, because essentially everybody has forgotten who he is, and there's been all these changes, and now we see Daredevil, being in there. I think there might be the potential for maybe next movie, maybe it's like a Spider-Man Daredevil team up and it's more so some street level stuff, maybe dealing with Kingpin and some other things. Maybe there's like one of those and then something happens and maybe it goes back into, okay, now we're getting into some more multiverse space, something like that. But like I said, I really like how they allowed that to happen, to get basically to much of the Spider-Man that we've known from other movies and things, where it's more so, street level, not as huge as saving completely the world, but saving the city.
They made him the neighborhood Spider-Man at the end of this. It's funny, they reversed what they did with the Ninja Turtles. The Ninja Turtles started off street level, and then next thing you know, they're out in outer space fighting the Triceratons. All this stuff, fighting monsters, going through time. It's like they started there with Spider-Man in the MCU, and now we're at street level Spider-Man. It's pretty awesome.
It's amazing. Any other thoughts, fellas? Any other moments you want to share? Well, actually, there is one. Like, and you'll be hearing it soon, but like William Dafoe, and William Dafoe pretty much was like, in case y'all were wondering, who is the pinnacle villain for Spider-Man? The answer is me. He's like, the answer is me. You're welcome. Because, and Mark, I actually asked this question to a couple of folks, and you'll hear it on the Superhero Roundtable. But like, Mark, you're a huge Spider-Man fan. Like, who is the definitive bad guy for Spider-Man? Like, I felt like that question. Yeah. So I mean, it is now. Hey, without a doubt, it is now. But has it always been Green Goblin?
Bruh, it like, I remember in the cartoon, with the Green Goblin showing up. Dog, I recommend to any Spider-Man fan, Spectacular Spider-Man. That show has several arcs with the Green Goblin. Norman Osborn. The Green Goblin's almost Spider-Man's like Lex Luthor almost. He's just like always there. But bruh, I think this solidified it though. Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin, he is Spider-Man's number one. Watch out, I'm coming to get you. I'm the Joker to your Batman. I'm the Lexi Superman. That if it wasn't solidified, it was solidified now. Because your boy
sure
William Dafoe, bruh, when Nails text me, when Nails text me to let me know he was done, I was watching the movie and I'm like, yeah, I'm at the part where William Dafoe was whooping that ass right now. like, bruh, that fight scene. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like that was he suplexed him down 3 flights of stairs in a condo in Long Island, New York. What?
Bruh, and I just and William Dafoe was probably the best part of that first Tobey Maguire movie. Like the acting, he was just cheesy enough, but like sinister enough. Like I say your next time, Spider-Man. Like he's like,
and anytime you have a villain like that where it's almost like a lose-lose situation with them, like you essentially have 3 choices. It's like, I mean, obviously they can defeat you, game over, they win. You can say, I don't know, do the thing where you lock them up, you beat them, but you lock them up and it's, safely or whatever, then you win. But then that third option is like, you could kill them, meaning you stop them, but then essentially they win. Because now, a chunk of your humanity or whatever, they've taken that. So like anytime you have a villain that sort of puts you in that position where it's 3 choices and 2 of them essentially they win, like like that's what
that last choice is really hard. Look, because William Dafoe was whooping that ass. Like, I don't know if you could just lock me up. And by the way, I'm going to try to kill everyone you love while you try to safely lock me up.
This movie addresses something that I've kind of had an issue with comic book movies in general, and it's like you kill the villain after the movie. At the end of the movie, you kill the villain, and that's how the hero wins. I'm like, that's not really like. I get it. I'm not complaining, but no, that's not comics really. Like, can't we do something like these stories don't
unless you're
end.
Wonder Woman be killing. But outside
well, no, I'm not saying like heroes that can't kill, but just like the reason why these villains and these arcs are so big is because they clash multiple times, or they have a history. So like I just thought that was kind of cool that like this Spider-Man was like, well, Spider-Man doesn't kill, but this movie's like, hey, let's try to figure this out without having to kill off our villains. But Nails, man, moments, bruh, come on, man, you can't ask me that. Moments like this movie, just
the movie
from
beginning to end.
And I'll tell you like this: when I need a Spider-Man podcast where Toby, Garfield, and Holland all pretend to be Peter Parker and just have a podcast together as Peter Parker. With their interactions, this movie on point, bro. Like,
yo, it was fantastic.
It was great.
And like, I wonder if some folks, because it did kind of slow the movie down, but it was so enjoyable. Like I was nerding the hell out. Because like, I don't even know if they were acting or they were just talking like 3 folks who just so happen to have acted as Spider-Man before. But I thoroughly enjoyed
just
it.
all the things where they're talking about Toby's web shooters. And they're like, what the hell is that? That comes out of you? Does it come out of other places?
Picking on his clothes.
It's so Peter Parker, though.
Yeah, picking on his clothes. It's like, you a youth pastor? Or...
Yes. Bro, it's so Peter Parker. Did y'all catch the Spider-Man 3 joke?
Yes.
So when they were like, Tom Holland was like, I'm Spider-Man 1. He pointed to Toby, said, you're Spider-Man 2. He pointed to Andrew, said, you're Spider-Man 3. And Andrew was like, okay. He was the only one that didn't get a Spider-Man 3 movie.
Dog.
So when he was like, Spider-Man 3, okay, I see.
Hey, bro, dog, I love Andrew Garfield in this movie because like the energy he brought to that, because he's like, yo, these other 2 Spider-Man are pretty badass. Like, I'm not that dope of a Spider-Man. And then when he's like, okay, Peter 1, Peter 2, and he's like, Peter 3, and he's like, all right, I'm Peter 3. I'm Peter 3.
Yeah. I'll take it.
I'll take it.
like, I guess so. He's like, dog, his energy in this movie was so funny, bro. And then when Tom Holland shows up and they're arguing, he's like, hey, everyone be quiet and listen to Peter One. Like, and they're like, who the hell made you Peter One? Bro, like, it was so good, man. And then when Garfield's like, I've always wanted brothers, I just like, I don't know, man. I love that stuff, man. And when they hugged each other at the end, and then Garfield's holding Toby, he's like, you're in so much pain, aren't you?
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'm in a lot of pain.
He's like, yeah. Yo, at the end, when Toby got stabbed, and they're like, are you okay? He's like, this isn't the first time I've gotten stabbed.
Apparently, Toby was supposed to die, and Tom Holland went to the director and was like, I don't know if we should do this. I think so. Good call. I'm glad he did it.
Good call, Tom.
I'm glad he did it. But dog, just real quick before we move on, and then Tom Holland returning the favor and then knocking the living, you know what, out of Norman, bruh. I was like, yo, is someone gonna stop him?
I haven't seen Spider-Man beat somebody that ruthlessly outside of comic books. I've seen him do it in comics.
Bruh, it looked like the trailer.
I've never seen it in a movie before.
It looked like the trailer to the Batman. And he's like, who the hell are you? And he's like, dude, Justin.
Like, bro, he was unconscious 8 hits ago.
Yes, man.
But yeah, so this is like maybe the first time that he didn't hold back on punches, because didn't they say something about like, maybe it was Andrew Garfield?
Yeah, Andrew said he pulls his punches.
Yeah, pulls his punches. And so this is maybe like Tom Holland's first time being like, no, I'm gonna punch a person as hard as I can. And whew,
yeah. Well, Garfield, what did he say? Why I kind of
pulling his punches.
Yeah, I need another Garfield movie, because like, yo, what does that look like? What is this Spider-Man who's not afraid to kill people look like this broken Spider-Man? So and bruh, just the audacity of all this. I'm not going to see this movie, but in the Michael Morbius trailer, there's a poster of Spider-Man and Morbius walks by and it says murderer on it.
Mm-hmm.
So is that Garfield? You know what I mean? Like, just like, it's amazing the places this movie has taken. But, and Doug, we haven't even talked about Doctor Strange. No one has brought up Doctor Strange.
Amazing. I don't know how long we've been recording, but we have yet to talk. We talked about the trailer for Doctor Strange, but like, this was a Spider-Man Doctor Strange movie, and Doctor Strange was great in the movie. The Spider-Man Doctor Strange fight was dope.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my goodness. Yeah. And so Benedict Cumberbatch, clearly, like, they were setting it up for him to be like the new like mentor for Spider-Man, and that lasted about 5 minutes. And we got what we got, which was amazing. I have to ask y'all the question though. And however you answer it is what it is. It's on wax. And I am also naming, I'm still on an emotional high. So it is what it is. Where are you ranking this movie? Of all time. Where are you ranking this movie?
Oh, of all time. Not just among the Spider-Man, but of all time.
Of all time.
Oh, all time. Okay.
Man, Nels. I'll tell you this. I'm a person who likes to let the dust settle. And with that being said, we also in a couple months are going to get the Into the Spider-Verse 2 movie, which before this movie came out was undoubted, without a doubt, unanimously the best Spider-Man thing ever created. So who knows what's going to happen? I'll tell you this. Whenever you talk about the greatest movies of all time, this has to come up. This movie has to come up. I'll leave it at that. Like, this movie has to be talked about. Not saying it has to be the best, but this movie has to come up now.
Yeah. For me, the dust hasn't completely settled, but I'm definitely going to say, even when the dust settles, it's going to be in my top five. It's going to be in my top five. And I'm also thinking about what is the difference of seeing this, because this is my thought here. What is the difference of seeing this now? Obviously, our knowledge, we've seen the basically 20 something years of what feels like 20 something years of all the Spider-Man movie, all the Marvel, all of this and that. So obviously there's a certain level that we're really taking things in with. But what if someone walks into the theater and it's like, oh yeah, I like Spider-Man, and just watches this movie without all of that?
No,
I think they would still be, I think they would still be amazed, and they would still be like, yo, this was an amazing movie. They're not going to have that same depth as us. That's how I feel about it. I think someone could walk in and be like, oh yeah, Spider-Man. Yeah, I've heard of him, and I used to see the cartoon, and just watch this.
Shannon,
I think they'd still, yeah.
It is our duty as movie watchers and Spider-Man fans. If anyone knowingly walks into that movie without seeing the pre-material, we have to get them out of that theater for their own good. We have to do whatever it takes to get them out of there. Get out. And tell them to go watch the Raimi movies and Amazing Spider-Man and the MCU build up, because it's just like, dog, it's like, it's like taking a 5-course meal and then just putting ketchup all over it. Mm-hmm. Like, no, you gotta wine and dine this thing. You gotta taste every bit. You gotta be like Cypher in the Matrix, like bliss. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta start from the beginning to really get the gist of what this is saying and get something out of it. You gotta do it right. You gotta do this one. You gotta do right. I'm sorry.
I agree, but I think, to Shannon's point, even if someone didn't do it right, they're still going to enjoy this movie. Yeah. Now, I strongly recommend that you do it right, so you can enjoy it. Have y'all seen I know y'all have seen the 5 Heartbeats. I was sitting in the theater. Y'all remember the scene when Eddie Kane got back on the mic to save the day and tried to like serenade the crowd, and the girl was sitting in the front row with the red pants and she was just squirming? That was me in the movie theater. That was me watching this movie. It was like Eddie Kang was singing to me. So I gotta I agree with the dust settling, even though I think the dust is settled. To me, I don't know if Dark Knight is better than this movie. I don't know. And if you've been a member of the pop cult, you know how asinine of a statement that is for me to say nothing is better than Dark Knight in my mind, until I saw this movie. And I do not know the answer if Dark Knight is actually better than this. This was, without a doubt, one of the greatest movies I've ever seen in my entire life. And the minute it ended, I wanted to watch it again. And like it's crazy. You know when an album comes out, you need to hear it a couple of times before you can actually make a call on it. Like, Love at First Sight is like rare, and like I instantly walked out of that movie theater like, I am in love. This is an amazing movie. So yeah, I don't know what the number is, but I have never asked the question if this is better than Dark Knight until this.
So no,
well, that's not true. I mean, for a live action movie, because I did say this for Into the Spider-Verse. I was like, oh, it's pretty good. But for a live action movie, I've never asked this. I've never consciously been like, I need to ask this question until this movie.
No, I want to ask you a question, and I want to make a statement. One, when is the last time you've seen Dark Knight?
A month ago.
Okay, fair. In defense of Dark Knight, and this is why I always give Dark Knight so much credit, it is a sequel to one movie. It is building off the universe established in one movie, and it is one of the greatest cinematic things ever created. This movie, I'm not taking nothing from anyone, is building off of 20 years of other universes and 10 years of the MCU. So like it has a lot working with it, a lot going into it. Dog, people saw this movie. This is one of those movies, a cultural phenomenon. It was like Squid Game. Like people watch Squid Game because they are like, I can't be the only person who doesn't know what Squid Game is.
Yeah.
Bro, I know people who like Shannon, like you, like who have not seen a movie. Bro, I haven't seen a movie since Knives Out. That was the last movie I saw in the movie theater. And then I saw Ghostbuster recently, but I was like the only person in the movie theater. So like this movie brought people back to the movies, and people went to see this on opening night just because they wanted to be able to use the internet. Bro, Thursday, Friday, I didn't go on social media at all. I damn near almost didn't use the internet for 2 days because I didn't want to be spoiled with this movie. So like I'm just saying that it's like I don't disagree with you, but like there's so many things coming together in this movie that make it like an experience like no other that Dark Knight didn't have going for it, but Dark Knight still is one of the greatest things ever made.
Well, Mark, if you're trying to, I mean, like let's just keep it a buck. The Dark Knight is one of the greatest movies, damn near is the greatest movie of all time. It would have to take what we just saw to compete with the Dark Knight. Yeah. Like, I don't know what you're saying, Mark. Like, you're saying all this, like, I agree. That's how good the Dark Knight is. It's going to take someone wrapping up every single Spider-Man movie. It's going to have to take, like, it's going to have to take the most epic thing I've ever seen with one of the only characters that can battle against Batman. It's going to have to take a Spider-Man No Way Home for me to say, I think I saw a movie better than The Dark Knight. So, I can't
argue with that. I can't argue with that. I feel you.
The Dark Knight is that great. It's going to have to take something like this. Like you can't, I saw a perfect Spider-Man movie. I saw a perfect Spider-Man movie that had 2 other Spider-Man in it. Like, yes, I kid you not, they had the deck stacked. And Jamie Foxx, they had Oscar winners playing minor characters in the movie.
Bro, yes. Yes.
They had Oscar winners playing minor characters in the movie. Like, yeah, man, it's gonna take that for me to say something's better than The Dark Knight. So I'm not saying it, but I'm saying
no. Question. That was one of the best arguments I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. So, fellas, I think it's time, unless you all have anything else, where I turn it over to our colleagues, our special guest, the folks who always come through anytime there's something superhero related where we need to talk about Marvel or we need to roast Hawkeye for any miscellaneous reason. The superhero roundtable.
Yeah, from Universal.
And then we can come back up and we can wrap things up for the show.
Let's hear from Universe. Good? Yeah, let's hear from Universe 11 17 11.
11 17. Let's hear it. and so like we'll turn it over to the superhero roundtable. They'll share their thoughts and we'll come back. So stay tuned. The time has come. Last time the superhero roundtable came together, we were reflecting on the Marvel TV shows. And we were like, you know what? Next time we'll connect. It might be, in March when Batman comes out, when Doctor Strange comes out. And then if you remember, if you go back to the episode, I was like, yeah, but Spider-Man's coming out. And I know fellas are going to want to talk about it. Well, lo and behold, Spider-Man came out. And if you're listening to this, you've probably already watched Spider-Man. And that we had to get the superhero roundtable to come together to discuss this. So, gentlemen, I'm going to go around and introduce you or say your name, and you're going to give a chance to give some quick context, say who you are and everything like that. And then we're going to jump into it. And we're going to ask some tough questions, but there is nobody I trust more than the members of the superhero roundtable. All right. Dorian.
Hey, happy to be here, bringing the deepest, most thoughtful takes to this group every time.
Yes, I agree. I agree. Otis.
What up? It's your boy Otis, aka Old Sizzle, boss of Hard University, aka I'm here to debate with anybody that has terrible hot takes. But I honestly think we all gonna be on the same page on this one. I think I feel good about it.
Okay.
Darius, hot take god, but natural rival to Otis. But
even though low-key y'all agree on most of the stuff.
We actually do.
Yeah,
deep
it's
down.
a deep down hatred. Pretty good.
And Jeff.
Big Jeff. I'm just here to stir the pot. Ready to have this discussion, man. I've been waiting for this.
Jeff is the only one who is actually physically not in the same space, and you all can't see Jeff, whether you're watching us live or on here, but Jeff is rocking a Marvel periodic table t-shirt, which I'm going to charge him up later on for. Take it from him. I digress. So as a reminder, y'all, the Superhero Roundtable is made up of members of the Psi Delta chapter of Omega Sci-Fi, the best chapter in the best frat at the best school. Well,
I'm right.
That's the best school. I don't know how I feel about UNC right now, but the best chapter in the best frat of all time. And my brothers, and I love them. And they're all uncles to Ian and Jaden. So, gentlemen, let me just put this out here. First and foremost, let's just set the table real quick before I ask you all some and I will name, these are some very hard questions. This movie was amazing, right?
Oh.
Is that
Absolutely.
Chef kiss. I'm doing the chef kiss right now.
Hands down.
No hot
It
take.
was-
nobody was disappointed about the movie, right?
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
Okay.
Nothing to be disappointed about.
All right. And we're gonna ask a ranking question, but I'm just throwing out there. You thoroughly enjoyed the movie
Absolutely.
and are saying it's up there, right?
Top to bottom.
Okay. So with that context, please understand and know, folks, that this is an amazing movie. And so we're about to just really have like a fun time and talk about this amazing movie. So one of the questions that this is going to go down a rabbit hole, but what were some of your favorite moments? Who'd like to start?
I'll start because like my favorite moment is just
Seen it
like
3 times.
Yeah.
Yes, Darius has seen this 3 times.
Okay,
by the way.
context before you
Wow.
because people that seen this
Today is Saturday. The movie
Yes.
started playing on Thursday. I've seen it 3 times already. My favorite moment has to be Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man catching MJ as she's falling, because not only did he do a great acting job, but that redemption was just so obvious, and you could see the emotion in his face. Like that was a deep found hurt. So like it just sticks in my head, like for him and getting that moment.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll go. I think I don't have I have a series of favorite moments, but I think the first one was probably again Andrew Garfield when he came in through the portal as Spider-Man, because we knew that they were going to be around. We knew the other Spider-Mans were going to show up, but we didn't know when or how. And even in that moment, I still thought it was going to be Tom Holland, Peter Parker. And when he took off the mask, it was like, oh, it's happening. Like he's here. And he was Peter Parker, Spider-Man in his own way. And then, obviously, what's his name? Toby. Toby shows up. Same thing. He has his own way of showing up as Peter Parker and not Spider-Man. I think it was just, chef kiss. And then the other piece that really spoke to me was just when they all huddled up at the end and was like, yo, we're really not working together because we're used to being alone. And Tom Holland's like, I've been an Avenger, like I know how this works. And the way they went out and was using each other's webs to fly across, I think that was just like they were sitting there watching me where I was like clapping my hands and like cheering, knowing that was going on.
Real quick, I gotta imagine, because just for context, Otis saw it for the first time today.
Okay.
Dorian saw it twice, and Darius saw it again 3 times. So, but the last time they saw it all together. So, Dorian, how was it? Because y'all had already seen it, but seeing Otis react to the stuff, like how are y'all experiencing that? Because I can only imagine it was like, yep, he don't even know what's about to go down. Like, how was that for y'all?
Yeah, I'll say me and Dorian were sitting there elbowing each other. It's like, here it comes, bro. Like, I really came up here to see Otis's reaction.
Yes,
to everything, bro. Like that, it really, like, I love theater reactions and seeing how people are going to respond to what's on the screen. So, like, that was just a great time.
Jeff?
For me, I had a lot of similar ones to what everybody was talking about, but to go in a different direction, I really got excited when we started seeing the villains earlier in the movie. So Dr. Octavius shows up, Electro shows up. Those little nuggets for me were great. And another part for me, even though it was incredibly sad, was when Aunt May died. But for me, it was one of my favorite moments because by dropping the iconic, with great power comes great responsibility line, just harking it back to the other movies like that. For me, I cried, but it also was one of my favorite parts. To me, that it was great acting. It was perfectly well placed, perfectly well done. Chef's kiss.
Yes, man. Absolutely. All right. So, Jeff, you mentioned some of the villains. You mentioned that being dope, one of the dope moments. We low-key got a Sinister Six movie.
Yep.
Right? Like something that I think high-key. We high-key got a Sinister Six movie. Like it, if you are alive and have been breathing for at least 4 years, you at some point have thought about what would it be like to get Spider-Man's villains to all come together and battle Spider-Man. It's happened in almost every media except the movies. So like we got a Sinister Six movie. And so the question I have for you all is, you got to see some of Spider-Man's best villains all in one movie. Which villain would you say was the best villain out of the ones that were in the movie?
Can we all say it on the count of 3? Because I think we're all going to say the same thing.
Okay, let's try it. Jeff, you don't say anything because you on Zoom. It's going to sound awkward when you do it. So you think it in your head.
Type it in
the chat, Jeff.
I'll go ahead and type it in the chat.
Okay. You're going to say the character's name, not the person's name.
Yeah, the character's name.
All right. 1, 2, 3.
Green Goblin.
No, Jeff also said Green Goblin. Okay, so let's just
I feel like that's the only answer.
Yes, it's the only answer. So let's just quickly go around and talk about how William Dafoe killed it. Right? Does that sound good? Okay. Otis, I'll let you start. Why? Tell me about William Dafoe. Tell me about Green Goblin.
I don't want to. I'm not trying to start any controversy on this, but William Dafoe to me is a top tier actor. But I think in this role, he's always given me crossing over DC Joker vibe.
Yes, absolutely,
and
absolutely,
yeah. And watching this performance, was peak Joker. To the T. I think the fact that he's really not worried so much about killing Peter Parker or Spider-Man, it's just about I want to make you as miserable as possible. And I don't really care if I win or not. I get peace in making you miserable.
Agent of chaos.
And I think the other piece of it is the curveball always is because he's sick. So there's still, Osborn in there who's a good guy and doesn't want any of this to happen. But, when Green Goblin takes over, he lets you know that I'm here to take over. And Dorian will tell you, because he was sitting beside me and maybe Darius saw it, but the scene when they were fighting in Happy's apartment and Peter was stealing off on Tom Holland, and then he was just laughing harder and harder after every punch. I was like, yo, you can't do nothing with him. And then he got thrown out the window, and then your boy caught him and threw him back in.
I told you it was gonna be consequences.
I told you it was gonna be consequences.
He said, get back in there, my boy.
He didn't even fight Spider-Man. He was just I'm throwing you back in here, and I'm gonna go climb down the sewer somewhere.
That was definitely like a WWE moment. Get back in the ring.
Yeah. Go ahead, champ. It was go get your medicine, bro. Get your medicine. But yeah, I think
You want to be the champ? Oh
Right.
God, that's funny.
I mean, I think he was just beyond brilliant, man. I mean, in the way that they set the table for him at the end, I truly appreciated it because it almost felt like, oh, they kind of won, they cured everybody, and then you still know Green Goblin ain't showed up yet. And it's like he's coming to like maybe his like grand finale. So masterpiece. I love him.
Yeah.
For me, I mean, because Otis hit the nail on the head. But for me, Green Goblin's the only Spider-Man villain in the movie so far that truly understands like Peter Parker and Spider-Man's like plight. The same way Joker understands like how difficult and like the perils of being Batman. Like he understands the psyche of it. In this movie, when he's like destroying him in front of Aunt May, and he's like, morality is your weakness. Like you have all the strength in the world, but yet you're trying to like, you could have easily just hit the button, sent us back to die, but your weakness is morality, and that's the thing I'm gonna use against you. And it's like that's what this movie got highlighted. Like this is why Green Goblin is like the arch nemesis, is like the big boss, because he actually understands the psyche of being Spider-Man. Like you're out here trying to be two people in the world instead of just being like, just be who you are type deal. And that was kind of just made it perfect, because it's like, to Otis's point, he's doing this because he understands the psychological battle. It's not about the physical stuff I'm doing to you. I'm breaking you down like piece by piece, mentally.
Yeah. And not to cut you off, the other thing I'll add really quick that I forgot about is that wasn't even Tom Holland's villain. He didn't even know him.
He made an impression real quick.
He made it personal.
They met about 4 hours before.
Like technically, Tom Holland didn't even have a villain.
Yeah,
all his villains were gone.
Green Goblin just showed up and was like, you know what? You look like the guy.
You're a Spider-Man. You gotta go too. I'm fucking like,
yeah. What'd you say, Jeff?
No, it's just he was just showed up like, hey, your name's Peter Parker, you're a Spider-Man. Great, I'm gonna fuck your life up too.
Say less.
All right.
Say less.
I'm with it.
Let's do it.
I don't know.
Darius.
I'll say like everybody mentioned everything about Green Goblin, but like the thing that really stuck out to me is like watching him and him mentioning, morality is your weakness. And every time they gave him an opening, he took it. Like he wasn't slipping up when they gave him an opening with Aunt May, when they gave him an opening to create a cure. Like he turned his back on it at every single time. And even at the very end, that was like probably the 5th time they were like, hey, chill out on Green Goblin. He stabbed Toby. We were all like, bro, at this point, we gotta kill him. He was just like so maniacal, so menacing. I was like, bro, this dude is dastardly, bro. Like he can't
Dastardly.
He can't make it out of this situation, bro. Like at this point, if he dies, he dies. Like Doctor Strange tried to tell you, bro.
There's no locking the Green Goblin up. Like you got
some people can't be
go.
like Green Goblin can't be
He's in the Joker. He's like in the Joker category.
Yeah.
Like the only solution is death, but they don't want to do it because
he's too
the
good.
villain
exactly
wins.
what he wants.
The villain wins because you lose a
Yeah.
piece of yourself when you take a life.
Yeah,
Exactly.
you break it. So
Jeff.
I'm just still thinking about Green Goblin and the acting on here, and I just want to know, am I stirring the pot here? I'm trying not to be a prisoner of the moment, but Williams Dafoe's acting here, it looked very Heath Ledger-ish to me. Like this man bodied the role of Green Goblin, and yes, he played the role before, but to body the role in this way in this movie, to give it for the nostalgia that he gave to all of us, I'm like, this seems very Heath Ledger-ish. I want to see the movie again before I commit to that. But that has got to be some of the greatest acting performances by a villain I've ever seen.
And Jeff, I'll just say this real quick. I know you mentioned being a prisoner of the moment, and I'll just name, I'm still on an emotional high.
Mm-hmm.
And so like, look, that's why we're doing a live reaction, because it's gonna be on wax, and then we can all laugh about how we were reacting to it. But I don't know, man. This is pretty good.
I want to see it again. I'm jealous of all y'all that got to see the movie 2 and 3 times, because I got to run back for number 2.
Oh, bro, I just saw it like 5 hours ago.
So now's the time, fellas. The question: where are you ranking this movie? And look, I'm straight up gonna say, like, no, I'm not asking ranking in Spider-Man movies. I'm not even ranking for all of Marvel movies. I'm talking about superhero movies in general. Where are you ranking this movie?
Can we start with one like a subcategory first? Overall, like
no. You can give a subcategory, but I'm asking where are you putting this movie out of all superhero movies?
That's
I'll go first.
Not just MCU. You're talking about all
yes
superhero movies that exist.
Yes.
I'll go first because I just saw it like a few hours ago, and this could be a cop out. I'm just gonna say top 10, and I'll figure out who has to move out. And it's not 10, but I'll just say top 10, and I know somebody that's been in there got to move out now. That's what I'll do with it.
I will say, now that you said all, it's still in my top 3. And I'm a wrap this up, and this may be a hot take. It's maybe a hot take, but number 1, it's still gonna be Infinity War.
Okay.
Number 2 is this Spider-Man, and number 3 is Dark Knight. Like that's
he gave my
my
ranking.
That's my top 3. I was like, this is right up. This is 1A and one. Infinity War is 1A, and this is 1B. I have nearly no critiques for this movie.
You love to see it. America. Darius put on his big boy pants today.
You love to see it. You love to see
I'm not ready to move Infinity War yet. But
you love to see it. Dorian?
It's top 5 for me. Dark Knight's up there. Endgame is up there for me. And after that, it gets a little fuzzy. This movie is definitely there, and now it's about.
It's on that level.
It's on that level. So now it's about figuring out who I shift around that. But like easily, the only couple movies I can think of that would give it a run are the Dark Knights, the Infinity Wars. For me, Endgame. After that, like the rest of y'all, it's already pushing y'all down. I just don't know.
See, that's why I gotta say 10. I
move down a little.
Date myself, but like the first Batman, like 1989, Michael Keaton, like that's top 10 for me.
Oh,
like,
brother,
because of what they did. I mean, what they did. I'm just telling you, Jack Nicholson playing the Joker, like Prince doing the soundtrack. Like again, I'm putting myself out there.
Listen, now I feel you. I feel you, Otis. And I think that's tricky because this is a generational related thing.
It's tough.
Like the generation of like when we first saw superheroes, none's really being that Batman. Like that 1989 Batman is like fantastic. But then there's like another generation of like the Blade era.
I was gonna say for me, my hot take.
Like I said, it's a generational.
My hot take was Blade. I was like, man,
Blade
era is up there for
that's
me.
That's you.
And I called it the Blade era for a reason. Like the Blade era. When you're getting that, you're getting like the other Batman movies and like the X-Men's, like
or even
there's that area
Batman with Danny DeVito and Michelle Pfeiffer.
Batman Returns. I put it in that first generation.
That's the one I really. That's one
I put in the first generation.
Or X2.
X2's in that second generation.
I like all the X-Men movies.
I got X-Men movies too.
Now, what I'm talking about,
You gotta move them down.
I'm talking about 2008 up. Because the game changed after 2008, right?
Yeah.
2008 was
you kind of got to go just
the
say
first
MCU
Dark Knight, or the first Batman Begins.
Yeah.
That was when Iron Man came out.
Exist.
That's just
right.
like, it's kind of talking about like Wilt versus Kareem versus MJ. It's really hard to do that.
Right.
Now we doing it.
Yeah,
we doing it, but it's really hard to do.
I'm like the 89.
So I respect top 10.
Yeah, not even to get off track, but like the new Flashpoint preview that shows that they're gonna bring back Michael Keaton as bring back his Batman into that. Like that got me going crazy just in the preview because like
and they better do a good job.
They better.
Spider-Man just
Michael Keaton raised the bar.
Spider-Man just did it
because Michael Keaton was my guy. I don't think they're gonna get it right, but I know Michael Keaton gonna get it right.
Into the Spider-Verse, you had the cartoon version do it.
Amazing job.
And now you had the live action.
Yeah.
And it was just as good. All right, Jeff, what about your take?
Oh man, it's definitely top 5 for me. Endgame is still up there. Definitely the Dark Knight is up there. Shit. Somebody's gonna have to like y'all were saying, somebody's gonna have to move over. And I'm trying to figure out who that might be. Winter Soldier has always been up there for me, but that might have to get the boot. I'm sorry.
That's gotta go.
That's saying a lot.
That's
saying a lot. No. Jeff, that's saying a lot. That's saying a lot.
funny.
Relax.
But yeah, definitely top 5 for me. And yeah, and someone's got to get the boot.
All right, so
Winter Soldier, you're in my seat. Need you to get
so gentlemen, we're wrapping up. Thank you all again for this segment. I think what I can like summarize from what y'all are saying is this movie showed up and showed out.
Yeah.
To the point that y'all are comparing it to some of the greatest movies ever made and being like, yeah, it's in this league now.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And this is 24 to 48 hours of a reaction. The last time I emotionally reacted to a movie like this, and we don't count Endgame and Infinity War because those were events. I don't even consider them movies.
Yeah.
The last time I reacted like this to a live action movie was The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
So I'm just naming like this is a blessing. This is a blessing. So gentlemen, thank you. We're gonna turn it over, but I wanted to like see if y'all had any last things you want to say to wrap up our time.
I got one last thing I want to
Go
say.
ahead, Jack.
I would be remiss if I did not come out. I got a little bit of smoke for Doctor Strange. I got a little smoke for him. You, my man, are probably the most powerful Avenger. You are like, nobody's really fucking with you. You're fucking with space time. You're breaking the multiverse, all that type of shit. I'm just saying, somebody should have gave him the Uncle Ben line, with great power comes great responsibility. Because all of this started because a high school kid came to you and said, my life is a little bit screwed up because I'm an Avenger. Can you please break the multiverse to make my life more convenient? And he's like, yeah, sure, why not? And one was like, oh, you sure you want to do that? And he's like, yeah, sure, fuck it, I'm Doctor Strange, I'll do it. And I'm just like, what was that necessary, my guy? Like, I understand that you're Stephen Strange and you are probably the most powerful and you can do whatever, but that just seemed beyond irresponsible to me. You are an Avenger. I would have told him, hey man, it comes with the territory. You're an Avenger. That's why we have secret identities and we don't tell people our secret identities, because then this is what happens when people know you. So
Jeff, me and Otis talked about that earlier, and I said, well, I think that is Doctor Strange does not know how to interact with children. He forgets that Tom Holland is a child. He even mentioned that, bro. Like,
he's a child.
If you go back to the first Doctor Strange movie and every interaction he's ever had with anybody else, bro, he assumes people have common sense. And it's until they start speaking, he's like, oh yeah, I forget you're stupid. Like, you're not.
But you don't. But you are the adult here. Like, come on. Like, he calls you sir. Okay. You gotta be better than that, Stephen Strange. Like, this was there. Now I'm glad he did it because it gave us the greatest movie ever. But like, had he not have done this, there is no movie. All he had to do was tell Spider-Man to kick rocks. That's all he had to do.
You ran.
It still would have been a movie without him doing it because his identity was exposed. So it's still.
I mean, yeah, cool, but we wouldn't have broke the multiverse. Peter would have had to navigate that. But
Listen,
like, I don't know.
Jeff, you're on a roll. I loving everything you're saying. I think this just highlights, a lifelong lesson that words can heal. Just take a second, have a conversation with somebody before you make a rash decision. MJ says it all the time, like, hey, can we take a beat? Maybe next time, let's talk it out with some people.
Because she was feeling some type of way. Yeah. She handled that extremely maturely, by the way.
But Doctor Strange should have said, hey, you know what? Before I start bringing this magic stuff in here, let me have a conversation with this young man.
There you go.
Figure out what's going on in
like an adult.
Make some assumptions.
He was just bored and wanted
that
to
5 minute, he was bored. That 5 minute conversation could have led to
do.
MIT, bruh. I know the so-and-so at MIT. Call this number.
Why would you like?
Happy can't pull some here, like Happy can't pull some strings for you. You know what I'm saying? With his Stark and this shit, you know the Avengers. You can't pull some strings, my man.
I think you're a little too upset with Doctor Strange here.
No.
Great
power comes great responsibility. That was the point of with great power comes great responsibility.
Bro,
Think of this.
He single-handedly saved everything. Let's wrap this up.
All right,
you don't get a cookie when you broke it in the first place.
All right, gentlemen, thank you all. And shoot, we'll see what happens next. I'm sure I'm going to have y'all back around a couple more months when Batman and Doctor Strange come back in the picture.
Gang, Doctor Strange.
Yeah. But thank y'all. Y'all take it easy. And we're back. All right, gentlemen. So we heard from the Superhero Roundtable. They clearly also In case y'all were wondering, they really liked the movie. They damn near loved it. And they thought the world of William Dafoe. So, gentlemen, to wrap up our reactions, any last thoughts before we end the show?
Shout out to Wesley Snipes. Without him, none of this would be possible.
Amen. Amen.
So let's give
a black man credit. Yep.
Yeah, let's give Wesley
give black man credit.
It's a credit.
I'm just amazed. I'm happy. What an early Christmas gift I got. My favorite superhero. And I talked to a mutual friend of ours, Nels. He was like, he asked me why I like Peter Parker, Spider-Man, so much. And I told him, man, Spider-Man is the Hey Arnold of superheroes. He does the right thing because it's the right thing, and that's the only reason he needs to do it. And it doesn't matter what it means to him or the sacrifice that he has to make. Like, to give up, he pretty much gave up his existence. Like, this man gave up everyone knowing him. Like, that's deep. That's deep. That's like the isolation that's Peter Parker's willing to endure to save everyone. And I hope, part of me,
it's the most Peter Parker thing to do.
Is the most Peter Parker thing he could ever done. And part of me kind of hopes Marvel doesn't ever backtrack on this, because it's just, that's so Spider-Man to have made this huge sacrifice that no one will ever know about. But part of me feels like somehow, some way, someone is going to remember him, even if it's like some variant of Tony comes back or something. But I really hope,
which is also a very Peter Parker thing.
Yeah.
Like just small glimmer of hope, just to like wrench it in that you made this big sacrifice.
And then his apartment burns down, and they're poor Peter Parker.
like that's exactly what happened. Someone coming in is like, I remember you. You gave up everybody remembering you.
Yeah, and then you hear and a fucking pumpkin bomb lands in their lap.
his favorite bodega gets like burnt crisp to the ground. Like, yeah, that's Spider-Man for you.
Godspeed, Spider-Man. As he flies over.
Yo, are we gonna get Norman Osborn or like Harry? Like, are they gonna whatever? That's for another day. It's for another day.
Well, I think they established that Oscorp doesn't exist in the MCU.
We haven't seen Oscorp in this universe.
Okay, so I mean, man, who knows? But
someone's gonna come up after Stark, because Stark Industries is damn near done. They done got raided by the FBI, and Happy's like, he's a prime suspect #1. So I'm pretty sure we're gonna get some other tech affiliates coming through.
Yeah, because if even once again, if we want to tie it to the shows, like in Hawkeye, remember they were having the conversation, him and Kate Bishop, and she was saying something about Stark Tower or Avengers Tower, and it was like, oh, Tony sold that years ago or whatever. So it's like, who's that going to be? So this might come into play. Well,
yep, we'll find out.
Can I ask y'all, what would have made this movie better for y'all? Is there anything they could have done to make this movie better?
Okay, well, I'm going to change your question, because no, they shouldn't have changed anything. This movie was perfect.
I'm not saying change
would have
necessarily.
been. Well, yeah. I'm answering your question, but I'm changing the question. What are some things that I kind of would have liked to have seen, or for them to like address or just done? For me, there's a few things. One, I would have liked just one more villain, so I could have called it a Sinister Six movie.
It's my thoughts exactly.
Yeah, like just give me one more. Just give me one more. So I call it Sinister Six movie. And like folks mentioned the inconsistency with Jamie Foxx. That wasn't a big deal for me. Like I was cool with that. Like I yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. One more villain, so I call it Sinister Six movie. Yeah.
Shannon, is there anything that you would like to have seen?
Yeah, the only thing outside of one more villain, to make it Sinister Six, maybe somehow showing Miles. So even if he wasn't in Spider-Man
That's a
mode
good
yet,
one.
to at least be like, okay, so this is the face of Miles.
Yes.
Some interaction with him. Yeah, that's about it.
I 100% agree. Yeah, I would want that too.
Bro, I had in my mind when this movie, before it was out, I had the perfect ending in my mind that Spider-Man would, the movie would end and everything was going back to normal and Spider-Man was on a roof and he hears Peter and he turns around and it's Miles and he's like, "You're alive?" And then that's how the movie ends. That would have been my perfect ending for this movie. But besides Miles, the only other thing that would have and I'm low-key glad it wasn't in here because it probably would have gave me a heart attack, is if the Scarlet Spider showed up in this movie or if Spider-Gwen showed up in this movie and if Madam Web was hinted.
No, Mark. No. Yo, if Madam Web showed up, I would have ran out the theater. If Madam Web showed up, I would have ran. I was like, no. You can't do this to me. Oh my goodness. That would have been ridiculous. Cause she would show up for some shit like this. Like this is her prime time,
right?
Your life sucks. Time for me to come through.
Oh, hello, Peter Parker. Oh, what's that, Madam Web?
Oh, that would have been terrible. Mark, I would have ran out the movie theater, yo. That would have been terrible. Oh man. All right, gentlemen. That was our reaction to Spider-Man No Way Home. Whew. It was real, y'all.
It was real.
So thank you all for listening. We have new episodes every month. In fact, this month we're gonna have many episodes. So y'all are in for a treat. You can find us on all social media at Pop Cult Parent, POPCULTPARENT. Email us at popcultparent@gmail.com. Don't forget to rate us, review, and subscribe. And as always, join the cult.
Peace.
Yo.